a settlement from the Middle Bronze Age, from the end of the 3rd millennium and the beginning of the 2nd millennium BC, and a flat necropolis from the late Classic and early Hellenistic eras. From the second half of the 4th and the beginning of the 3rd century BC, were discovered near the Lovesh village of Vladinya during archaeological excavations. They are part of the rescue studies carried out in 2019 and 2020 near the village of Vladinya and the city of Letnitsa. In connection with the construction of a transmission gas pipeline, the so-called Balkan Stream, the scientific leader of the excavations near Vladinya, Maya Valentinova, told the Bulgarian Telegraph Agency, "The most important results of the work of archaeologists in the area are shown in the exhibition of the Regional History Museum in Lovech, Vladinya and Letnitsa. New archaeological researches in the Lovesh region. It is arranged in the Covered Bridge Hall, co-organized by the National Archaeological Institute with a museum at the Bulgarian Academy of Sciences. The head of the excavations near Vladinya is Maya Valentinova, and near the city of Letnitsa, Chief Assistant Luban Leshtikov. Remains from several periods were discovered in the studied areas. According to Valentinova, the two objects have provided very good results of high scientific value, which have enriched the fund of the Regional History Museum in the city of Lovech. One of the interesting objects shown at the exhibition in the city of Lovech is a silver box, Fiala. The vessel is part of the silver treasure from the village of Vladinya, Lovshko. Discovered by accident in 1964. As a result of an impact, one half of it is quite deformed. In its lower part it has a hemispherical shape with an omphalos in the middle. The wide mouth of the pouch ends with an outward-facing edge. The omphalos is surrounded by a ring, 1.5 mm wide, filled with obliquely incised lines. The bottom is decorated with a single cross, the broad shoulders of which are slightly bent and differ in size, 3.1 and 2.3 cm. They are filled with horizontal lines with a scaly ornament, so that each subsequent arc is inserted with its elongated end between the figures of the preceding one. The interscapulars are cut by a deep line, on either side of which run beveled concave lines, filling almost the entire space. This is how the shape of a pentagon was obtained, the top of which rests against the circle. A second, narrower ring of incised transverse lines runs along the periphery. The upper part of the file is decorated with barely defined relief projections, which have arcs at the upper edge, not coinciding with the line of the flute. It has a concave point at both ends. Specialists from the Archaeological Institute, the Regional Museum in Smolyan, the historical museums in Kazanlak and Karnobat, freelance archaeologists and students also took part in the research near the village of Vladinya. The discovered settlement from the Middle Bronze Age is the only one in central northern Bulgaria. The study of its complete complex makes it a major object for the territory of the entire country for that era, Mai Valentinova pointed out. On the entire studied area near Vladinya, We registered and documented remains of dwellings, various outbuildings. The settlement was burned down. It is single-layer, briefly inhabited. The dwellings were built with the classical technique of prehistory, of peg-weave construction, smeared with clay. The remains were not very massive, and according to the thickness of the plasters we found, it is assumed that the walls were no more than 10 to 12 centimeters thick, the archaeologist said. Hearths, heating and cooking equipment, whole or fragmented ceramic vessels, household objects, loom weights, spindle whorls, some of which are decorated, bone tools, ornaments. Stone and clay pendants have been studied and documented within their boundaries. Ceramic vessels with incised decoration, stone and flint tools were also found. Fragments of 2 stone molds testify that there was metalworking in the settlement itself. The discovered necropolis of the second half of the 4th, the first quarter of the 3rd century BC enriches the general picture of the burial practices during the late Classic and early Hellenistic eras in the region. He is the big surprise for archaeologists. If the settlement was marked during the field searches on the surface by single ceramic fragments, pieces of plaster, then the discovery of the first graves was a big surprise for us, since flat necropolises are a matter of chance. If the mounds are clearly visible on the ground and are often associated with funerary practices, the flat necropolises are a chance to get an idea of the more ordinary population buried in them. Valentinova pointed out, archaeologists have studied 18 graves from this period, of which 16 were cremated and 2 were cremated. Personal belongings, weapons, clothing accessories, ornaments were found in the graves. In the children's graves there were glass beads, a necklace of 31 beads and others. Grave 21 stands out from the others with its inventory: a glass bead with human faces, a breastplate, an earring, rings, etc. This grave is of a young man, aged 20 to 24. Who was of higher social and economic status. The exhibition also presents some of the finds found near Letnitsa. Specialists from the Archaeological Institute, the regional museums in Shumen, Burgas and Pazardzhik, the Maritsa East Archaeological Museum participated. The discovered settlement is the only one in the region from the Late Bronze and Iron Ages. It provides evidence of the area being inhabited for more than 1,000 years and continuity in material and spiritual culture. 2 pits from the Late Bronze Age and settlements with houses and pits from the 11th to the 6th century have been recorded and studied. The settlement continued to exist probably until the 3rd century BC. Household items were found: flint knives, spindle whorls, a double iron axe from the 5th and 4th centuries. Imported ceramics, Valentinova also said. She added that the discoveries allow for important conclusions about life along the middle course of the Osum River and complements the studies from the Devatashka and Tabashka caves. The mound necropolises, the summer treasure, discovered 2 kilometers from the settlement. This is a region originally inhabited by the Thracians. The most important results of the studies are also presented in the catalogue Archaeological Studies in Lovshko, Past and Present. It mainly shows finds from the village of Vladinya and the town of Letnitsa, but 6 articles have been added, dedicated to the studies of sites along the entire middle course of the Osum River, which cover all historical periods from early prehistory to the Middle Ages. The overview article of the catalogue is by Associate Professor Dr. Risto Popov, Director of the National Archaeological Institute with museums at the Bulgarian Academy of Sciences, who follows both the new researches in the last 2 years and the 120-year history of the archaeological excavations in Lovshko, the Lovshko States Museum. The book is published under number 19 of the series Catalogues of the National Archaeological Institute with museums at the Bulgarian Academy of Sciences. The publication is bilingual, in Bulgarian and English, richly illustrated and equipped with maps and a bibliography, which make it extremely valuable both for specialists and for the many lovers of archaeology.